Hello. Welcome to my channel, Kelly Universal Healing. I am Kelly Mitchell. I am an intuitive and astrologer and an early childhood educator. This week's video, I will be bringing you the horoscope for the week for parents, teachers, and children. So let's start off with Tuesday. So Tuesday, we have this lovely T-square between the Sun and Pluto and Mars. Now, we've had Mars retrograde for some time, and I think that everybody's kind of feeling that energy a little bit. Of course, Mars is that planet that is really pushy. It's ruled by Aries. Of course, Mars is in Aries, so there is kind of this pushy energy. However, it's retrograde, so it's not direct, it's not forceful, but at the same time, there is still this pushiness that's there. And I think that over the last few weeks, we have been picking this up in the classroom as teachers, or if you're at home homeschooling your children as parents. Even the children and students are probably feeling this pushy energy between their friends and even from teachers as well. You know, this is impacting everybody. Everybody has been on edge a little bit for some time. Now, because we have this all kind of funneling into Pluto, it is really calling for this transformation. So we have Mars on one end in Aries that wants to push things forward. Then we have the Sun in Libra on the other end in the opposition that wants to create this balance and beauty. Now, all of this energy is funneling into Pluto. And it's important to notice that, you know, Mars and Aries is really ruled by the self, the independence, versus, you know, having the Sun in Libra, which would be much more ruled by togetherness, by the group or a relationship or a friendship. So this is kind of the I versus the we, funneling that into Pluto in Capricorn, where we have Pluto, this, you know, things need to be transformed. So there's teachers, parents, everybody is kind of asking, we want something different. We want a new system. We don't want things to be the same. There must be a better way than doing this. I mean, we are now 5 weeks in, 6 weeks into the school year, and it's kind of been a bit chaotic. The rules changing are week by week. Some places day by day. You know, one case you can't have children coming with runny noses, and then they can, and then, you know, the symptoms are being changed, and it's a lot for people to manage. And then people are like, well, do we homeschool our children? But we can see how this is detrimental for their social skills, but we don't want them to be at school where we feel like it's unsafe. And then teachers are feeling like, well, this isn't quite working, we need to figure out a different way. So this energy is all funneling into this transformation energy, and it is so important to notice or to know that children pick up on this too. So just the same as we are feeling the I versus the we, and that there must be a better way, the children are also feeling that energy. So they're feeling like, what about me? Where do I fit in? What do I want? But what about my friends? You know, I am one, but I'm also part of this classroom, but I am still me, right? So how can we navigate that? And I'll talk a bit about that more when we get to Friday, but this is just Tuesday as the week kind of opens up. And so we're really asking for those old structures to go away. And this is something that I think has been already put into place from the very beginning of this year of 2020, when we had the initial Saturn-Pluto conjunction. This is the falling away of structures that are no longer working. So then on Tuesday, we also have Mercury going retrograde. Now this is going to be opposing Uranus. So Mercury rules communication. It also rules like that lower, like elementary style learning. It's going to be retrograde for the next 3 weeks. So because it's opposing Uranus, you can probably expect that there's going to be like some shocking information or some unexpected information, or you're not really seeing like the whole picture, and then bam, now it's there. And this can create a little bit of conflict between people, especially if our communication isn't where it should be, right? If we aren't able to communicate effectively or properly, then that can cause misunderstandings and then therefore can cause conflict. So it's really important that we try our best to communicate as best as we can, but at the same time have grace for other people, knowing that we are all in this together and we're all kind of going through this, navigating this, and it's not going to look the same. And if there is a miscommunication error, put it on a miscommunication error, not a problem with the person. The same thing as if you're working with like children or you're teaching them something and they don't really understand, you're probably going to have to find a different way, because Uranus is all about alternate ways, different ways of doing things. So really structure your lesson plans maybe for the next 3 weeks to meet the children where they're at. I think that's what this week is all about, is meeting people where they're at, having a bit more compassion, having a bit more grace, having a bit more understanding that, we really are all in this together, and we might all have different opinions and different takes on things, but we're all doing the best we can. And the more that we can work together, the more harmoniously this will flow and the better it will be. So take some time to analyze some things on Tuesday. Analyze, because we have this, it's also a balsamic moon that we're going into. So a lot of things are happening this week. So it's a good time, to look at your routines, and see where the wiggle room can be. How can you create maybe new routines that fit better now? I mean, we are 6 weeks in, and yes, I know things change every single day. I am an early childhood educator, so I know how frustrating that can be. But at the same time, we just have to roll with it however we can. So just look at your routines, create that relationship, have that grace and understanding for others, and everything will be just fine. We will get through this. So, use this day on Tuesday to evaluate your classroom. How's it working for you? How's that routine going for you? Is it in alignment with who you are as a teacher and what your hopes are for your classroom? Is it in alignment with your school's philosophy? If you're a parent, is it in alignment with your routines? Are they in alignment with what you want for your children and your family? Just really pay attention to look at all those things on Tuesday. Now, as we head into Wednesday, of course, we still have that Mercury retrograde, which will be for the next 3 weeks. So have patience, allow yourself extra time to get to work, allow yourself extra time with technology. Just give yourself a little bit of a grace period, because with Mercury retrograde, there will inevitably be some communication breakdowns, whether that is between people, technology, cars, anything like that. So we need to look at what needs to fall away and be transformed on Wednesday. We're going to see, what are these structures in our classroom that are no longer working? What are these structures in our life that are no longer working? You need to adjust your lesson plans to be able to fit the children in your classroom. Again, this is the I versus the we. So we have this whole, you have to be able to teach the individual child, but it also has to work on the grand scheme as a community. How can you make that work? It's going to take some brainstorming, and I don't think it's going to be something that happens instantly. But take some time to make those thoughts and create a plan to make those things happen. So it's kind of also a good day to maybe switch up the energy in your classroom. So I know early childhood educators have the opportunity where they can actually change the materials that are on their shelves so that different things are up there. So switch up the energy. What needs to go? There's old energy that needs to be moved. Bring in some new activities. Prepare a new routine, start something new, start a new project or something like that, particularly something that focuses on beauty and friendship. So this could be an art activity, this could be a relationship building activity. Again, the I versus the we, how can we respect people's individuality, but also see that they're part of this community. All right, so stay focused. You'll get through this. This week I think will feel a little bit intense as we near up to this new moon. Of course, make sure you're getting lots of sleep, because the balsamic moon phase is kind of that time where you might just need a little bit extra energy to get through the day, a little bit extra sleep. Just nurture your body a little bit more. And if you come home and you're exhausted, don't push yourself. Allow yourself to rest. If you're a parent and your child comes home exhausted, please allow them to rest if at all possible, because I think we will be quite tired during this week. Okay, so as we move into Thursday, we have Jupiter trining Venus. So this is, we have some new understandings about our desires. We want things to change about our desires. We're starting to see what other people desire as well. Of course, we've had this opportunity now over the last 6 weeks, as teachers, to really see, who are these children in our classroom? How can we meet them where they're at? Who are these parents that are in my community, that we need to build relationships with? And you start to see these people, and as you start to see them, you start to be able to understand who they are and what they want, what their desires are, what their hopes are. So this is where you really have to just meet people where they are. Have the compassion, have the understanding. We have the moon opposing Chiron. So there could be some wounds that come up, some nurturing wounds, some mother wounds that come up, where there might be a little bit much more overprotective. Thursday it could be maybe a little bit harder to have children to leave their parents and come into the classroom. But at the same time, Jupiter trining Venus, it could also be a pretty good energy of the day. But there are some sensitive points. So we also have Jupiter squaring Mars. So Jupiter is getting closer to Pluto, and Jupiter, this planet of expansion, moving closer to Pluto, this planet of transformation, is kind of like it's going to feel like the boiling point in a way. Similar to what we have experienced earlier on in 2020. And just stay grounded throughout this, Mars and Jupiter energy can be very pushy. Mars wants, understand things my way. I want to do things my way. I want to do things right now. I want to do things right now, and that could also be the energy that we have in the classroom with children. I want to do it right now. No, I don't want to do it that way. I want to do it this way. So that's why I say meet people where they're at. If you can have this awareness that this is something that's going to be going on, it's going to be a lot smoother for you. Don't allow use your intuition to guide you throughout this, to meet people where they're at. Listen to your intuition. Where are they, and how can I meet them where they are at? How can I meet children where they're at? How can I help them learn where they're at? How can I help these parents where they're at? How can I help myself where I'm at? Self-care is so important. But with Jupiter and Neptune together, it's use that intuition, but don't allow your desires to cloud the way that you look at reality. Don't be so focused on I have to do it this way because this is the way that I want it to be, that you can't see the other way that it could be that might be a little bit better. So just listen to your own intuition. Now as we move into Friday, this is the new moon. So this is a great time to, start that new project, start that new routine that you had been thinking about that maybe would work a little bit better. Start a new unit, start a new theme. But it is going to be opposing Mars. So this is where we are going to get even more so into this I versus we energy. So what the Mars in Aries, this is what I want, versus the Sun and Moon in Libra, what we all want together as a collective, what's going to work for us, right? We versus I. So then all of that energy now is funneled into Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter. So we will have to find a balance between the individual and the collective in the classroom. Likely things are going to have to be changed, or adjusted. Focus on creating those routines that serve both the individual and the classroom as a whole. This is going to take probably a lot of work. Some people have a lot of children in their classrooms, but you really can't let anybody slip through the cracks. This is a big problem too, where about our education system, where we kind of just focus so much on the whole, this is what we're all doing, so this is what everybody has to do, that we really miss out a lot on the individual children and what their needs are. And the same thing goes like in families and in households and all this stuff, that we become so focused on the collective that the individual kind of slips through the cracks a little bit. And I think it's really important to maintain that balance. So we also have Venus sextiling Mercury. So, you're going to have to communicate these changes that you're going to make. Communicate how you'd like things to be as a teacher and a parent. And ask children, how would you like things to be? What would you like? You can have this conversation with really any child. It doesn't matter of their age. Of course, it's easier to have this conversation with like a teenager or even somebody who might be in upper elementary. But you can even have this conversation with like 3 and 4-year-olds. What would you like to do? Try to give them a little bit more independence and autonomy over their own learning and their own life. And then you start to be able to see how we can make this work as a collective, right? Because it's like we're all interconnected, but we're all individually interconnected. So don't lose your individuality to the collective. And so, don't allow your desires to cloud your own vision. Don't allow this to oversee the bigger picture. Don't be so focused on what you want, the way that you have always done things, or the way that things have always been, to not allow change to happen. Really take the time to listen to parents, listen to children, listen to your coworkers, and collaborate. How can we make this better? How can we make this flow better? This new moon is a great time to do that. Don't become stuck. Don't become complacent. Every week is a different week. We're all in this together. We're all going to get through it. Week by week, it will be. And so I hope that everybody has a great week, and just please take the time, as an educator, what can you do to make a difference? As a parent, what can you do to make a difference? And as a whole, how can we work together? And I think that if we can look at those things, this week is going to go a whole lot smoother. All right. See you next week. Bye.